I'm here with Rebecka, who I have worked with for 4 years, going on 5 years now.
It's a
So
good
you're in
day.
sunny Florida. Is it sunny? Is it beautiful there today?
Sadly, it's not sunny today. We've got some thunderstorms coming through,
Oh no.
so it's a very rare cloudy day.
Yeah, paradise is cloudy today. So you started out coaching with me, like I said, little over 4 years ago, just barely over 4 years actually. And the last couple of years, you actually moved to the Accelerate side of the business and joined our team as a coach and kind of a client liaison. You help us a lot with our events, with our masterminds, with our
Awesome.
webinars, with some of our jump program and our coaching around that. So you've kind of made that transition, but at the same time, you're still running a real estate business, right? And in the midst of all that, you moved to Florida. So you were coaching with me in Utah. You moved to Florida and joined the Accelerate team, and still run a real estate business. So you're a pretty busy woman, yeah.
Yes, sir. Not a dull moment here at all.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit more about just an overview of everything that you've got going on now?
In addition to working with Accelerate team, I also run a full-time real estate for myself here in Florida. My goal this year is one transaction a month, which I know for many real estate agents full time that seems low. But for me, I'm also a new grandma, and my four children are spread throughout the US. So travel time for me is very important. So I keep my goals to where they meet my expectations, where I want to be with my business, and I work accordingly to that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And with the systems in place, the systems that you've adopted in your business, I know that you travel all the time. You get to spend time with your kids and your grandkid, which is awesome. But you're still, I mean, your business is booming. Every time I talk to you, you're out showing houses or putting deals together. So there's still a lot of exciting stuff happening.
There is. So I try to keep 5 to 6 active clients at one time where we're actively looking, actively writing contracts. Since January, we've written 6 contracts. 3 have been accepted and closed, and the other 3 still actively working with them. One did decide they want to wait a little bit, so they got tabled, and I pulled in 2 or 3 more from my pipeline. And the tools and things that I have in place make that, I don't want to say easy to do, because it took a lot of work and very concentrated, targeted effort to create that pipeline, where I can naturally pull the next client up to work with.
To create
No,
that consistency that so many agents want, but very few are able to achieve because it's that roller coaster. You work hard to find clients, and then you try to keep them happy, and then you get them under contract, and you try to get those deals to close, and then you're back to trying to find clients. One thing that I love about
exactly.
you is you're really good at looking for clients and working with those clients while you're also writing contracts and getting people to the closing table, and you've built a system to be able to do that consistently, which has made your business very consistent, which is awesome. So congratulations to you.
Yeah. So it's a nice feeling to not wonder where the next lead or the next client or the next contract's going to come from, because I already know that. I have already done the legwork, and I've been given the tools to set that up, and it flows very naturally with my day. The tools fit very naturally into my life, and I'm able to work that. Um, I want to say with minimal effort. It requires setup and effort in the beginning, but once it starts rolling, I'm watching the growth happen, and I'm actually throttling some of it to keep it at my one transaction a month. So I could do more. That's the great thing about it, is if my goals changed and I wanted to do more than one a month, I could do that.
Yeah, that's what's so
And
awesome.
it
Once you
would
get that train
naturally
moving,
grow.
it gets a lot easier. And then, like you said, sometimes you got to throttle it back a little bit and say, okay, now I'm getting too busy, and my grandkid's too cute. I can't miss out on that. So
I can't stay away from him. And as we all know in this business, the best way to get things to pop is to go out of town.
Oh my
So
gosh, you're not kidding.
that's
Yeah. You're not kidding. I talk to agents all the time that are saying they have a lull in their business. I said, just go on vacation. It'll solve all of
yep.
that. You'll be busy as you can be. Nowadays, because you're working on the accelerate side, so you're really bossing me around mostly, and which is, I mean, that's a full time job in itself,
Just
trying to
keeping
keep
you in
me
line.
organized.
Just keeping you in
So,
line.
but when we were coaching, we coached together probably about 3 years. And then you really took everything, and that's when you moved to Florida too. So not only did you move to a different state with really, I mean, you didn't have family in Florida, did you? You kind of started out.
No, we didn't have any family. So essentially, I kind of started over twice. When I started coaching with you in the beginning, I was new to that state
Mhm.
and I didn't have an SOI base. I did have some family. So that started out, it helped a lot starting out. And then 2 years later, moving to Florida, I was starting ground zero.
Yeah.
The rebranding, everything. I had to change brokerages. All of it was very bottom floor ground zero. We didn't know anyone moving out here. It was just my husband and I decided this is where we wanted to be as empty nesters. And so we took that leap and came out here. And so I didn't have any friends, contacts, prior people that I knew to seed my SOI. I had to start from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And
So
so
tell me a little
uh,
bit about that experience. Like, how did that all come together? What systems and tools were you able to implement into your business that helped you get off the ground? Because you essentially, like, your business exploded as soon as you hit the ground there. It seemed like. I mean, you were busy. I know that your first year you were doing deals like almost immediately. It was incredible. So tell me a little bit about that experience and how that all came together.
So I think laying the groundwork in the initial coaching, I already had the tools to implement right away. I already had the practice with the funnels and my media, my mailing, my letters, all of the branding was very easy to change with the tools from Accelerate. And your coaching program, the daily checklist was a huge one because despite moving in, unpacking, all of those things, I already had an established process and timeline for my day that I could easily say, okay, I've done this, this, and this towards my business, and now I can go unpack a room. And so it
Right.
was really easy to start doing that right off the ground running. I didn't have to wait and reset all that up. I also had learned from you how to look for certain things in clients. The scripts and the practice that we did as with you as my coach helped me be confident in approaching people just out of nowhere at the UPS store. Um, I joined the city chamber group, and one of my first sales came from a contact that I met there. So I had those scripts and practice and things in hand to have conversations about real estate very naturally, very easily, right from the get go. So starting a SOI database really was a natural thing.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's something you've done really, really well at is just building a database very quickly. And like we talked about, you didn't know anybody in Florida really. I mean, you just had to go create relationships and start conversations. So for a lot of agents that would be challenging. That would be nerve wracking. But to have that confidence and that's why we provide the scripts and we have the role play and all the tools to be able to get confident with those so that you can go out and you don't feel like you have to know every answer or you're begging for business. Like that's not what it's about. But meeting people and getting them into your database now, I mean, you've been in Florida now how long? Couple years? Going on two?
Almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, going on 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, and from the beginning, you started with a database of people that didn't know you, and now they're kind of becoming an extension of your SOI. It's like having your own SOI, people who know, like, and
Yeah.
trust you. in a matter of 2 years, and we already know the results of that. You're literally throttling back your business because you're getting too busy. I think any agent out there would love to know that they could do that in 2 years if they just put the time in. But that's the big thing. And it seems like the successful agents, whether it's in this program or just out in, the world in general, it's the people who are putting in the effort, right? And you're going out there, and we had a plan. You executed the plan. You got right to work with it. You didn't hold back, even though there were times that we talked and you were nervous about new relationships or striking up conversations, things like that. We're all going to be nervous about stuff from time to time, but you just broke through those barriers and you kept going. So as much as I would like to take all the credit with the systems and the scripts and stuff, this is all you. And it's really cool to watch what you've created in such a short amount of time in a brand new place. Now, granted, it's paradise, but it's still brand new, so it's pretty cool. It was very rewarding for me to be a part of. So I really appreciate being along for this ride.
Well, I appreciate you being a part of it. I think it is, you don't want to take credit, but a lot of the coaching and the role play got me over my initial nerves and helped me target. You really listened to what kind of business I wanted to create, and you took my strengths, channeled them, and then built on my weaknesses. I'm not a cold calling person. I do not do cold calls. Yeah. So helping me realize I could be successful without that, because I could have different funnels, different avenues, was very helpful in me honing in on how to target my efforts so that it doesn't feel like I'm spinning wheels in a lot of directions hoping something will catch.
So we must have done something right, because, like I said, a couple years ago, you joined the Accelerate team on the other side of the business, and your role is kind of a client liaison, right? You help with our Jump program, which is kind of our program that gets everybody up and making sure they're utilizing everything in the Accelerate community. You also help with a lot of our webinars, our trainings, our masterminds, our script, role plays and reviews. So you have a pretty cool position here. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, pretty cool position in the company. But so we must have done something right for you to feel like you want to be a part of that on the other side.
Yes, very much so. Because it was so natural, I believe in it wholeheartedly, that the tools and the scripts and the things that we do as part of Accelerate, the community that we're trying to build with it, has a power to it that just naturally builds and motivates us to be better. And I wanted to be a part of sharing that, because I think that there are agents that can be successful without it. Of course, there's lots of different ways to be successful, but having tools that naturally and seamlessly help build a momentum in business and help me tailor and build the business that I want is something that I'm excited and passionate about. So I'm excited to be part of it too.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it really, for me, it's the community thing, right? If we're all in this together, we're all focused on the same goals. And we've got agents from all over the country kind of working on the same things. It's a lot more rewarding. At least for me, it's rewarding. But I think for a lot of our members, it's rewarding to be able to listen to other people's stories, listen to other people's successes, and to be able to just utilize that information and not have to go out there and figure it all out yourself. And a lot of that we owe to your mastermind, because you put these things together in a way that people understand what all the information that we have available. I've been doing this a long time, and I have one way of explaining it, but your way is an entirely different way, but it's powerful, because maybe some people hear it better your way than my way, and we've created a really cool synergy that way. So overall, as far as the coaching side of it, or maybe even your insight on our coaching that we've provided for other agents, like what would you say about just your overall experience? What could you share on that?
So one of the things that I try to bring to the table with Accelerate is not only my experience as an agent, because it's very short with my experience as being an agent. However, prior to that, I was both on the buying and selling side several times, somewhere around 20 times in our 27 years of marriage. And so understanding how a buyer and a seller thinks in different scenarios, different types of transactions. We've experienced everything from short sale to, great markets, bad markets, all of that as a buyer or seller. And so I've taken all of those experiences and used them in my career as an agent, because I want to be the kind of agent that understands who they're working with and tailors their process, their communication, everything to what that client needs. And I think that's one of the things that's very powerful with Accelerate is your ability as a coach to help tailor the conversations, the trainings, the opportunities to what is happening now and what is needed now and what that agent or that market or anything needs. And I think that tailoring of the topics that we talk about or the community conversations that we have help build us in the moment. They're not just some script that you wrote 15 years ago that you're still working with. It's tailored to what is a priority now and what is needed in the market. And if something shifts, we shift along with it. We are right there in the moment with agents. And because we're building that community of agents that are out hitting boots on the ground every day, we can share those experiences in live real time and learn, like you said, sometimes something you say catches, sometimes something I say catches, and we reach a wider audience by sharing our experiences together as agents in that community where we foster the ability to learn and I don't want to say maneuver, but we react to changes in the market. We have to be able to be flexible. We have to be able to adjust what we're doing to keep up and go with the flow in changing markets and changing environments. And I think that's one of the biggest, most powerful things that I see with Accelerate is that ability to be in real time with the needs of agents right now.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think that especially these last few years, the market has been changing all the time. And, we're going through some more changes right now that we're going to have to get through and figure out the best way. But I think anytime there's change, it breeds opportunity, right? There's so many opportunities where if you're ahead of the curve and you're ready for it, that you're going to take market share. And that's really what we want to provide in this environment, is that we're always ahead of that curve. We're always ahead of what's next. And I think that does help that I have the team here in Utah that we're boots on the ground. We know what's happening all the time. But then also I get to hear it from all over the country with my coaching clients, and we're able to implement strategies, and maybe we have to adapt them a little bit depending on where they're at, but we do that pretty quickly. My whole goal is that we see the new market, we pivot, and then we lean into that new market. And I think if we can do that as an agent, we're going to thrive. And people always need to buy and sell. So I think that's awesome that you explained it that way, because that's what it's all about for me. That's what I love about my job is the planning and the strategy, and so but you and I definitely work well together in building those strategies and finding a way to get that information out to people so that they can go out and just dominate their market, which we see all the time. So that's what you're doing in your own market. You're using this stuff every day. So it's even cooler that not only are you taking what we're teaching, you're teaching it and helping people, but you're out there using it and creating massive results, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is.
So any last thoughts that you could share with maybe an agent who just moved to a new area, or maybe they're just getting started, so they don't have a lot to go off. They're just starting from scratch, whether they have an SOI or not. but they want to create a business. They don't want to have a job of being a real estate agent. They want to have a business, a career, something that they can build into kind of what you've created there in Florida, where you're turning down business. You're too busy. What's some advice for an agent that maybe is just at the beginning stages of what you have done now a couple of times in your career? But what advice could you give them?
First advice would be to work hard at the setup up front. Have everything that you need, questionnaires, tools, daily schedule, all of that. Do the work to do the planning up front. Because if you lay it out and have all of that done, all of your marketing tools, your mailers, your flyers, anything that you want to use, do the work to set that up. Have the email outline ready, have your drip campaigns ready, set up all of your tools ahead of time. Be familiar with your local MLS. Be familiar with all of the tools and websites your local organizations use. Because if you do the work up front, then it becomes easier and more natural fit in your day. That would be the first thing I would recommend, is do the work up front. Don't be afraid. Don't think that you'll get to it when you get a client, because then that'll delay you. The second thing I would say, starting in a new area, is really focus on that SOI. Really focus on that date, just making connections wherever they can come from. Wherever you meet people, let them know you're a realtor. Don't be afraid of using that as an introduction and letting them know who you are, and finding ways to stay connected and build that web of connections in your community.
That's awesome. Yeah, even if you don't have friends and family, right? It doesn't SOI, sphere of influence, does not necessarily mean friends and family. It could be just people that you meet, like you said, in everyday life. Just invite them into your radius, your 30-foot radius, and just stay in touch with them, build that relationship, and eventually they do essentially become part of your friends and family, right? And then they know, like, and trust you, and you get to work with people you actually want to work with.
Exactly. I met one right off the bat, and just this week, so I met him my first month here. We crossed paths at a UPS store, and I just introduced myself, said hello. We were standing in line, and then I gave him one of my business cards. He called me, asked me a few questions about something, and just this last week, so it's been a year and a half, but just this last week, he sent me 2 of his friends who are looking for properties in our area. So sometimes the smallest connection can have big results if you make sure that you let them know who you are. Yeah. And find ways to stay top of mind. So I have advertisements in neighborhoods here. I stay top of mind, and he had seen a couple of them. So I also do a notary service on the side. So that has allowed me to cross paths with people. So any way you can find to set up connections with people in your area, it'll benefit you later.
That is awesome. So just get out there and meet people, right? Just keep meeting people, keep putting them into the database, keep putting them into the system, follow the system. It will work.
It definitely does.
Love it.
And don't get discouraged. I would say the third thing I would tell people starting out new is don't get discouraged. The first year is hard. It's a lot of work. It is a lot of discouragement, a lot of no's, a lot of denials. But if you can stay motivated and follow the system, use the tools, do it every day, you will see that momentum start to happen, and you will see those connections come in, and you will see it start to build.
Granted, that's being said by someone who pretty much month 1 we're doing business in her new place. But, so everybody's idea of success is different. Rebecca's out there doing transactions immediately, but saying it was hard to get started. So, we'll leave it at that.
Well, I had done the legwork the 2 years before.
That's true. So, no,
yeah,
I
already had
the tools down, though.
In my checklist.
Yeah, that's true. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. I don't want to take any more of it, but I really appreciate you coming on here and just sharing your story. So thank you very much.
My pleasure.